Well, here we go with our first attempt at kit bashing. Just make sure all my stuff is turned on here. I just popped this model open. It is the basis for this. It's going to get complicated. It's a Chaos Lord, which is neat. It's a cool model. It's not very Nurgly. Not really. Sort of got a Chaos Undivided vibe to him. I have two of these, and I need 3 Chaos Lords total. The nice thing is he's got a pretty solid pose. I'm not so sure about the hammer, but he's got the plasma pistol that I already need on my Chaos Lord. But there are further complications. It's also interesting to note it's like, hey, not for kids 0 to 3 years old. Like, okay, you can go a little higher than that. So here's the complication, and I didn't realize this till I actually cracked the thing open. This is one of those just pressed together, don't need glue models, and it's the only model I think I've ever built of a biped where the head is actually just fused in as part of the model. No, you know what? I think the first guy that I did, I think the test model that I got from the store, I think his head was already cooked in there. So this poses a bit of a challenge, because one of the things I want to replace to get him into that, I might want to turn up my mic a bit. How's that? Is that better? Thank you. I didn't switch it back from work mode. I could probably actually extend it out a bit too. That might be a little bit better. We'll see. Thank you though. Let me know how that goes. I'll just crank it a little more. Why not? Hopefully we don't redline it too much. So anyhow, I may need to saw his head out. Which, I know I have a saw somewhere. I haven't opened it yet. I may be able to just clip it out. But yeah, this could get interesting. Secondly, this whole back piece is this massive honking thing. And I think I might use it on one because I can pop a different backpack on it and be good to go. But I think for the second one, I'm going to try to find a different back that'll fit on there. The cape is nice, but I have all these sprues with stuff on them lying around, and I'm sure I can find some bits that will make sense on him. And mainly, I'm learning to kitbash by doing it the hardest way I know how on a model that's really not made for it. So the first thing I'm going to do, because it's the first problem I got to solve, is snip this main decapitation state. Hey, welcome back, guys. You are my unbent, unbroken. You guys are my death guard. So I have no doubt that this will get out of hand. The third Chaos Lord that I make is almost exclusively going to be spare parts. I really shouldn't be starting from this model. It's really not good for it, but I already bought them. I don't need any vanilla Chaos Lords, and I need to learn. So I'm gonna sneak over here in my growing pile of stuff. Yep, there it is. Didn't think I would be using one of these anytime soon, but you know, here we are. And the opportunity to learn new tools is always kind of nice. I've got some of green stuff, so I'm going to remove this guy's head, and then I'm going to find some other parts that make sense for him, and we'll just freestyle it, really. That's going to be the easiest way to get this thing out without damaging myself. I think it peels. Please peel. Yeah, it does. Good to go. Get this thing open. Which saw is the best for removing a head? I'm guessing the big boy saw, but I don't know any better, so it doesn't really matter. Pop this thing out. Leave the rest of this bubble plastic. Ooh, it's got a sleeve for the blade. You smart guys. Keeping me from hurting myself. Keep the sleeve out, and I'll just leave that other blade in here for later. Did I just lose it? I didn't. Okay. I think I just dropped something. Lots of little bits. As I look down here, I see nothing. It couldn't have been that important. No, it's just a piece of little cardboard stuff. So, I have now a second tool sharp enough to hurt myself with. I'm guessing, yeah, this just screws open. You drop the blade in. Profit. How's everybody doing tonight? I had a long day today, but it was awesome. Got a lot of stuff done. All right, we now have a saw. It'd be nice if I could keep his head, but I'm not really going to worry about that. I don't know how I'm going to possibly get in there. I might have to get in there with the snips to start. As I look at this, I think I can definitely just get in there and chunk his head out. Yeah, that Termy Lord's looking cool and gloppy. He's got a lot of goop. All right, get in here. Oh, I might not need to saw that much. Oh. I don't think your little head thing's going to last, buddy. I'm just going to snip that so I can use it on something else. My piece is part dish. It's actually got the head I'm probably going to put on here. All right. So maybe I don't have to saw too much. If I bend this guy a little bit, some needle nose pliers. Oh, this is rough surgery guy. I'll teach you to mess with chaos. Kitbash, you need to be very careful. I have a feeling that this first guy is going to be sort of a dark sacrifice, not unlike the situation with the Emperor's Children, where they start getting modified. Yeah, I'm using a lore excuse for why I'm going to do this, like, absolute desecration of this model. But I don't know how I'm going to get in there and do that. See, if I saw directly across here, I'm going to hit that front piece. But if I saw from the back... Oh, here we go. Yeah, I do need to be careful. Sadly, that's not my forte. This head's going to get lost. It can't be kept. I'll probably keep it on the second guy, and he'll just get a variety of other extra pieces. Oh, that was not terrible. His head's sort of saved. Goes in the dish. So as you can see, his head's out. I need to clean that up a little bit, but it got out there, and I think the saw is probably going to be a little bit for cleaning while I'm in there. Maybe I could just file it. Decapitation station. Yeah, hopefully I don't lose any fingers tonight, but I think that's doubtful. All right, so his head's out. Conveniently, I'm guessing one of these fits. Oh yeah, perfect, right in there. Oh, this is starting to have feelings of destiny and fate. This might have been meant to be. That part wasn't as bad as I thought it was. Probably, I'm guessing, this pauldron might have to come off, because I'm probably just going to grab an arm that has a better weapon. Yeah, kitbashing is easier on models that are in bits. Yeah, I feel you. I've removed the head. Now, issue number 2, okay, my stuff lost, is I can now pop this thing on here. It'll look pretty cool like this, and I think I'll only need a different head, a different backpack, a different melee weapon, and I think I can get him looking properly Nurgly. So I am going to do just that. Treat him that way. I'm going to snip this other bit out. The second guy I may have to go a little crazier with, but the head actually came out. It was nice. Boop. Boop. He's got a little peg for where it fits into the base. Base is pre-pegged. some other little thing. I don't know. It's tough to tell from the picture. It's like a skull, but I can't tell if it's like a servitor skull. Um, yeah, like that back thing, it's okay. Not fantastic. We're going to go for fantastic. So I'll pop the bits out that I know I'm using. I will press him together. And then I will investigate where I need to start going nutty with green stuff and other parts. I will check the instructions. So his arm would normally go in there at the same time. But I doubt that that's happening. All right. Is this even how you work? I'll press this in like that. I should still glue this, shouldn't I? I shouldn't just leave it like this. Well, it's pretty stuck. I'll glue the seams a little bit. I could pull them apart a little, or not. Now, if this thing goes on here correctly, okay, I still have some burrs. I never sanded this thing. There we go. All right, so we've got a big cape, and I'll get him a better backpack. Plasma gonna go on. I'm not sure. He's got like the old school eyeball on there. I'm not sure that's that terrible. I like it. I could try to Nurglify it, but I think the paint job is going to take this guy a long way. I think the paint job is going to take this guy quite a long way. All right, this is going to need glue for sure. Yeah, no, I could definitely understand that. Like where they're all separate pieces. As soon as I popped this thing open, I was like, "Ooh, I'm in for a ride." All right, the glue is flowing. That's good. I can put a little extra there to sort of get it glued together because it's going to be under where that arm is. I'll put a little dip in here. Likewise. That should stick them together pretty good. Slap his arm on. Yeah, and it goes right by his side. That looks cool. Press them together a bit. And I'm going to leave him to stick together a little while I hunt for other parts. And my guess is there's like almost no way I'm going to find something that fits with another pauldron because his weapon, I've already lost him. Yeah, his weapon, his hammer, comes with half a pauldron. So that thing's probably coming off. So I don't have to think too hard about that. Oh, that's interesting. Maybe I'll do this with the next one. That's really interesting. It'll be tough to tell here. Maybe I'll do it with the other sprue. It's kind of funny. I could do the next guy with his head on, but I could give him a totally different back. And if I gave him that back, oh my God, they're almost the right size. They almost might fit together. He'd be a strange mutant with 3 legs. That might be who number 2 turns out to be. I'll leave his head on there. Savage. I don't know. I'll think about that for the future. Anyway, gonna find melee weapon backpack. I think I had an extra sprue around here somewhere from an old set of stuff. That sprue doesn't count. That is from my Ultramarines. I still have one Ultramarine to build. Do that at some point. All right, big melee weapon. I have, you know what? I'm nearly certain I actually have this arm with one of these long spears on it hiding somewhere, which might actually look cool with this guy. Big old long spear. Is it on any of these sprues? It is not. It is not. Is it down here? Did I hide it? Let me just check one other little place over here. Look. Do have it. I could get that arm. I'm going to clip it off and see how it works because this will just go back in a bag with my spare parts. I Extra Plague Marine chest pieces. Yeah. So I think that this is wily looking enough on the front where I may not need any extra coverage on this one, but there are a lot of chest pieces around, and I might be able to just get one on over that. So this is a pretty interesting exercise because it gets you very familiar with like different classes of models that you've got lying around. Because I didn't think about all the chest pieces that I might have. And this sprue, so I have 3 of this exact sprue because my poxwalkers were on them. But yeah, like look at that. I can just plop that chest piece on, big old tongue face McGee. That one, which is crazy. Interesting. I'm just gonna see how this would work. I would obviously have to take that thing off. I might have to cut the spear down because maybe those guys are shorter. Oh, they're kind of the right size. Staff goes like this. So here, the thing is with the rules right now is that it's like it's either. It's a good question. It's not as strict as it used to be. Death Guard, Chaos Lord, Sheet. Army rule? No. Data sheet. There we go. As I scroll down here, and I wish I could just share the screen with you guys, but I'm terrible at this stuff. I will turn this into a full multimedia experience someday, I promise. But as I'm looking at it here, yeah, so right now they have Chain Fist, which that is not, Plague Fist, which it is not, Twin Lightning Claws, or Plague Encrusted Exalted Weapon, which is kinda anything else. And the weapon profile is not bad on it. So that would count as a, like, it. There is no actual model for this. It's basically like what you throw in there as a melee that isn't claws or fists or chain fists, is what you get. So this would be a plague encrusted exalted weapon. I don't know that I'm going to use this on there, but it kind of looks neat. It does look neat. I might have to snip the end of it off. The pauldron's not as big and dope as a true Death Guard one, but I might be able to just fit one over it. I'll save that for now. I know I have a couple other options. I have more than a couple other options. And on this big sprue, there's got to be... So this thing is like two-handed. I'm not using that. Because I want to keep that plasma pistol. But that axe right there is pretty nice. So I would need to grab an arm piece, slap that on there, put a pauldron on. Could absolutely do that. There is that dope axe, which I like a lot. Begs the question, would it be wiser to put his hammer arm on? I don't even know how that thing works at this point. And just clip the weapon off? Nah, not doing that. Not buying it. If I get far enough to get into a tournament, I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. So, you know what? I'm going to try the spear. And if I have to put an extra pauldron over it, I can do that. I can clip around this. But that pauldron's got to come off. This has already gone off the rails, but it's fine. I think this guy would need. All right. Surgery time. This calls for the saw. Hopefully that doesn't sound terrible. Smooth. That saw is smooth. That thing came off pretty handily. Nice job, saw. All right, so in theory, this guy will get this rad-looking head, or maybe another one. I should do a fashion show with Death Guard heads. Conveniently just almost snaps in there perfectly right now. Do if the arm is normal, remove, holding the hammer. That may be the way to go. Would be the way to go. I'll do that on the next one. The next one will be a little less wily. So I am going to give this guy the spear. He'll stand out. I need this guy to stand out, just so I can keep an eye on him. Maybe this head. Maybe a different one. Maybe a different one. Do I clip a pauldron right now? Just glue that thing on, see how that goes. I will leave that little stump on there because that'll allow things to progress. Oh, you know what? I was almost going to put it on like a backpack. Yeah, let's really kitbash this thing. I think that looks pretty cool. I think it'll serve. As long as I can get it to glue on safely enough. I'm going to pull one large pauldron that I like to make sure that it fits over this and that I don't have to take that thing down more. I guess that's what I'm doing. Big old one, big honking pauldron. I'm guessing I'm going to have to at least clip a little bit of the existing pauldron off. Oh, that's got a nice little spike on it. I like that one. I'm just going shopping. This little spiky pauldron. So in theory, this would then go on over this, and it'll look like a mess if I don't clip that off. Making sure it doesn't look horrific without it. And it does, it looks too tiny. It looks way too tiny. It doesn't look Space Marine enough. Which is kind of weird. Well, no, it's not, because that's from a different model. That all makes sense. Alright, so I'll do a little snipping. A little bit of snipping with my snips. That goes over that now. I think I'm taking it down to the nub. So this being the first one, I'm being probably too risky, but it's cool because I'm learning a lot. The second one, I think I'm absolutely going to take the hammer arm, just take the hammer off of it, and give him just a cool different weapon. There's a little bit more Nurgly. The other thing I could do is do a tentacle to a weapon, but I think that might be a little outside my wheelhouse right now. All right, that almost fits perfectly. Almost means I gotta still do a little work on it. Oh, there's a massive gap there, though. Yeah, when I say it almost fits, I am a straight up liar. It doesn't almost fit yet. Pauldron almost fits on the shoulder. the shoulder doesn't quite fit on the arm. Oh, I'm in deep. I'm in deep. But I've got the muse going. Feeling it. Destroying this model for the greater good. This is what the greater good's all about, right? Hopefully I don't have to take a bunch more off than that. Alright. I'm going to find a way to get this arm on. It's basically going to be a pile of glue. We get that pauldron on. We're in business. Oh, glue, where are you, glue? Come on out. Ooh, oh, there we go. There we go. It's a little bit more squeezing than I'm comfortable with, but that is not a very healthy seal. So I am going to have to hold this. Yeah, I'm going to have to give it some pressure. This guy's weird. It's all right. There's nothing compared to the three-legged guy I'm going to make. And now gently I'll just see how this... Yeah, that'll work. His head will fit in there. He's got a... That'll work. Looks like he's striding forward with it, which is cool. That might actually work out nice. I'm hopeful. There we go. And I think as I look at it sideways, normally this thing would go, that little post would go into the base as well. But that's the actual bottom of the spear. I can just clip it right there, and it'll look like he's... It won't even look like it. I'll make sure that the thing's going right into the base, so he's marching. Proper soldier. That's going to look cool. He's got like a good stride to him. Looks like he means business. I'm going to set this down. I should see what other heads I have. Obviously, this thing is full of heads, but I got extras specifically from the Plague Marine Champions. I might as well pull them out because they're known extras. Make sure some funnies falling off of here. Or at least I'll pull them off if one of them trumps that guy that I've got. This one is just a weird, mean, demon-y faced guy with... I don't think that fits. Oh, and this is the fungal dude, which I think I've already got one of. So, nah, those are good. We'll keep that one that I've already got. It'll be good. Alright, so I'll put his pauldron next to him. And then the next guy should start snipping out. Him, I'll just attach this arm with it. Give him a new hand and a new weapon. So at least I'm keeping him together in spirit. This guy can keep his head. All right, nice jump. A little bit of filing. Excited for that first dude, though. He's got a lot of potential. He had to undergo a lot of surgery to get there, but it's all good. Alright, so I don't know that I'm exactly going to attach the back of him though. He may get a new back. So I'm going to see how this hammer arm fits in, and then I can work the hammer out. Once I've seen how this fit goes, just give it a quick inspection. That feels like, yep, that's a little bit of glop. And oh, the face of the hammer, guys, that's cruel. That's cruel to make me file down the face of the hammer. We could have found a better spot to sprue that guy. All right. So in theory, this thing just goes directly attached. Why does it look like it's behind him? Because I'm doing it wrong. Am I doing it wrong? I must be doing it wrong. It can't possibly be like that. That's a picture. We go right. Goes underneath like this. Okay, so I can put his back on if I choose to keep his back, or I could turn him into three-legged Johnny. That's how that looks. And then any other. Oh yeah, I can work with that pauldron. That pauldron's nice. Ooh, you just based him? Oh. Oh, that looks cool. That looks really cool. Is that locally sourced sand from your own driveway? Yeah, I gotta up my basing game. That base looks awesome. Yeah, that looks toxic. That looks really cool. Good job. I am gonna glue this arm together because man, it practically doesn't even need glue. It would just need the back of this thing. So yeah, I'll keep this arm, which will be another nice pose. It'll be a very different pose than that guy, that first guy. I can just get it. Yeah, get that in there. So now I can just hack that weapon arm off. We'll still have a decent pose. I'm going to leave that pressed there. At this point, I feel pretty confident in that head. I will take a quick glance, because I have heads all over the place on these sprues. And this green head, whoop, could just as easily end up on a different model as well. But like, that's pretty solid. That's pretty dope. But let's look at our assortment, because I know there's a bug head floating around on one of these that looks really awesome. So many good heads. That's like half the joy of this whole thing. This Death Guard jam. You get lots of heads to work with. That one's smashed open. Make sure I'm doing this so people can see it. I think I'm going to stick with this head here. I think I can literally just glue it straight in there. Well, I gotta tell you, Dane, he does look like that. This is the very first thing I thought. It looks like blood being like washed through a stream. So kudos to that, because I think you nailed that one. That was definitely the first thing I thought. Oh, I could put Mega Spike Head on there. This Spike Head's fine. These guys are so cool. I can't even handle it. Put Bug Head on them. Nah, we'll stick with this. I'm psyched. He's got a gladiatorial sort of look to him. I can just glue that in. Yeah, I could do that. So I've been sort of beating around the bush, but like the third one of these guys is literally just going to be all spare parts. And I don't know if that'll happen tonight, but my third Beast Pickle Haub. I have no idea what you mean, but it sounds interesting. Speaking multiple languages to me now? Is that what we're doing? Right, I'm going to drop a little dash in there. Make sure that that sticks. And I should find out if I can fit a breastplate over what he's got going. Now, I may not end up doing that on this one, but it'll be informative because I need to do it on one of them. I think so, just to make it look a little different. I feel like I should. If it disgusts you, I'm probably doing the right thing for Nurgle. I think those are great words of wisdom. Indeed. Right, as I run this thing over, just trying to think, that'll probably hit his leg, so I don't want to use that one. It's interesting because the way his leg is crossed over there, the way you can see that, I don't think it's gonna. I think I need a breastplate that is like doesn't have any groiny stuff on it. All right, I'm gonna sniff one out. We'll see what we see. We'll see if it's a decent fit. If it's not, I'll live with it. He's a lord. He can kind of live his own life as long as he doesn't look like a Terminator, because he's not. I should be good. Give this a little bit of a sanding. Ah, learned another thing. A pickle hub, that's the name of that helmet. Interesting. I like it. All right, so in theory, maybe I would need to do a little snipping, but in theory, this could just not fit at all. Look at the back of this one too. Yeah, it's totally made for a very different model. This guy's not going to accept that chest plate unless I cut a huge chunk of it out. So that's not happening. But I'm not too worried about that. I could see if there's any other bits, but I doubt it. There's this chest piece. I think all this stuff is going to stick out too much. Like I would have to snip a huge chunk out of there, and I still don't know that it would really work. And I wouldn't. I'm okay with wasting a couple parts off of the base of this because like it's the only thing I'm using it for. Don't really want to waste parts off of my precious Plague Marine sprues. We are going to get him a backpack, though. We promised him a backpack. It's a promise I can keep. Let's see here. Yeah, I think so. I'm totally fine with some amount of chopping, but I'm not very good with like hacking this whole thing to bits. Um, the dope backpack will look pretty rad. No, I just gotta pick one. Do, 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 do. It seems neat, but I think yeah, it's a little much. It's one of the ones with the barrel on the back. He just needs one that looks rad enough. It spreads out. That one's probably the one. That's the winner. And he's got that kind of post on his back too. So that is definitely the winner. This one will give his, so it fits on there. It'll give him a nice wide shoulder. And that'll be cool. Just dry fitting it before I sand it up. This on his back. Is it enough? I don't know. Is it backwards? I absolutely put it on backwards. I don't know if this guy looks big enough. So I'll probably have to snip that bottom thing off. I don't know if this is badass enough or not. It looks weak. Oh, it's because it's probably only half of it. I think it's got another part to it. Yeah, no, he's gonna get some good old green stuff. I'm gonna have to add some stuff to him. I'm not sure if that backpack's gonna fly. I'm not sure that one's gonna work. Or at the very least, is it part of another one? Definitely looks like it's just missing excitement. If I had to guess, it is missing some excitement. And I might have found it. Maybe this is gonna be badass. Watch as I just systematically just pull everything off of this sprue, thinking I'm gonna use it somewhere. And then I don't, and then I can't put the models back again in the end. At least correctly. So I'm guessing this thing actually goes with this thing. And goes on. Oh, yeah, now we're talking. Was a multiple piece, you sneaky awesome piece. All right. So, make this guy look rad. Take some of this stuff down. I have to say that like this is a heck of a lot of fun. I'm not quite at the point where I have so many like I say these are spare parts. Like I still got 14 Plague Marines to make. 14 or 15. Somewhere in that 14. What's this number? So they're not that spare, but you know, down the road I'll have parts all over the place. You know, I've got one Ultramarine lying around. I've got one of those Shieldy McGee starter models lying around. You start accumulating stuff and you just work with it. I do have to check in on his pauldron though. And that will take a little bit of smushing. I gotta put it on there so it hides enough. But yeah, it works. It works. Let's glue that on. Oh, there we go. It is interesting how when you're putting stuff together, not by the books, that it is just a much more precarious kind of process. You have to hold things together. That natural snap that you get sometimes, that doesn't exist. That's gone. You leave that by the wayside. Um, some of this stuff may come apart, and I may need to just add some green stuff in there. I'm prepared for that mentally, but if I don't have to, yeah, then I won't. Squish you in there. Oh, oh, I may have injured him. I did injure him. I placed a little bit too much faith in that Bond there. James Bond. Okay. You need a little time to rest there, guy. I put you through a lot. Get your backpack going. That glue needs to evaporate. All right. But we'll get his backpack going. This backpack is going to look cool. It's not a backpack, it's whatever it is. They don't use them to fly. They don't have any of those flying Marines at all. All they do is just drop noxious gas out of the back. But like, look at that thing. Put that on his back. No wonder it looked like it was not finished before, because you know what? It wasn't. Make sure that this is settling in okay. I am going to snip this off of his back. I keep saying I'm going to stop messing with this guy, but if I get this off of here, I can leave this guy in peace for a little bit. Both of those posts got to go. And that will just go on like that, and it'll actually fit snugly. So I'll do this, and then I promise I'm all done. At least with this guy, for a little while. Just let him rest. This guy's gone through so much struggles. All right. My guy. Kit is bashed. So bashed. Keep is kind of good. A little worried that it's like Horusy looking, but I think it'll make these guys stand out as lords. A nice cape. Okay, that arm looks pretty good. Spear, no matter what, the base of that spear I'm going to take a little extra off of, but it's going to look like it's sitting in the dirt in front of him. So that's okay. Oh God, I hope you hold together, buddy. You're like spit and bubblegum incarnate. That's what that thing's for. Just for kit bashing with your precarious build. You just let him sit there in peace. Have a sip of tea. I mean, he definitely is going to look different than my Marines. He definitely looks pretty darn cool. At least at his basest, he's got that element of the Chaos Lord. So technically, I bought the model, painted the model, just made some modifications. He's got to be legal. All right, I can scooch this, raise this back up. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that guy's just going to need some tentacles and maggots, and he'll be all right. He's got like a private detective look about him, too, with that sweeping cape. And because he doesn't have the hammer out in front of him, it's just a different look. All right, so this is on there pretty good. I do have to decide whether or not this guy has 3 legs or not. I know it's an awkward thing to talk about, but it's a pretty silly idea. Not my silliest idea, though. Old 146. I got plenty of melted guns, and I at least know what they are now. After we did our show and tell. All right, so that said, would he attach to that? Sorry, I'm like pulling stuff off the camera while I work. Nope, that wouldn't work. Just morbidly curious if I think there's like I'm pretty sure there's like a 2-legged thing on here somewhere. That will not work. Just watch him do a super split. I think I'm probably just going to end up using the back of this. The actual model, God forbid. Not the worst thing in the world. Oh yeah, that's how I would turn him into 3 legs McGee. I just gotta see how it looks. It's tempting. It's tempting. All right. Exceedingly tempting. Talk about mutations. Oh my God, he almost fits. He almost fits like solid. It's not gonna work. You can rest assured there are some issues with it. Like I would have to make him gargantuan fat. But I could make a 3-legged man. Is it just the post that's giving me trouble? No, it's pauldron over pauldron. I would have to hack too much of that up. That would look hilarious though. 3-legged monster. That's not happening. I had high hopes. There's no way I would get that to fit together. That's okay. All right, so this guy's gonna basically get put together for realsies, but I'm gonna trade his hammer out and then add a bunch of crap to him. But this one will be the most like the original model. Unless I find an arm with a different plasma gun on it already, but I don't think I have that specifically, so I don't really want to like go crazy mixing and matching. Storm of Iron. Ooh, I should probably read that. I am precariously close to. I'm cutting up a lot of footage, and sadly, I'm spreading myself into like multiple projects at the same time. It's not that bad. I like it. But I definitely want to get more Titan books under my belt. And the Necron book that I read, uh, the Infinite and the Divine. I'm definitely doing a video on that. I'm working on it, and it is it's going alright. Hmm. Alrighty, let's figure this out. Let's figure this out. I can leave that weapon business for the very end. I like how this model is on the whole. He's going to need some Nurglizing, some green stuff, but the weapon, not the hammer. I'm going to trade the hammer out. He's not a dwarf. I think on this one I'm going to just trade out the melee weapon. It'll still be a good pose. Iron Warriors novel. I am light on Iron Warriors. Iron Warriors is not Ferris Menace. Iron Warriors are. Is that Perturabo? I don't even. Man, I got so much to catch up on. So much to learn, and yet so much time. Dies Irae I am familiar with. That thing's seen some stuff. And had strange, not crew changes, but lots of stuff happening aboard. Alright, so maybe read the instructions. Yeah, led by Perturabo. I don't know anything about that dude. And I just finished Fulgrim, and like, yeah, his crew appears in that, but you don't get any insights of what he's about at all. The gun arm. You treat this as if not already put together, buddy. Hit this with a little glue before I. Yeah. Just a dab here and there. Those seams. There we go. All right, so that's together. And this part is easy peasy on the post. His gun's behind him. I'm definitely not taking this guy's head off, so I've got to do some wily stuff with him. This guy's going to look the most like the original, the exception of the weapon. Uh-huh. So I gotta find a weapon that actually goes in here nicely. And either I gotta take his hand off at the wrist, which is definitely a possibility. The names are so funny. Like the names are definitely all made like in the game's inception, and then you gotta sort of like live with them. But I love them. But like Angron, Perturabo, like he's perturbed all the time. Like it's awesome. It's like Emperor. How did you think this was gonna work out when you finally met your kids again? They had names like I hate my dad and PO'd all the time. All right, so theoretically, that weapon's pretty darn close. So I'm gonna take this guy's arm off at the wrist, and he's gonna get this gnarly looking axe. Optimally, this is just one snip. He just had a bad rap. See, I don't know anything about his rap, so you go ahead and tell me. But he just seems like super. I don't know. I haven't actually seen him do anything. I've just heard people lightly talk about him. One, two, three, snap. Ugh. All right, well, there you go, Darth Vader. Just gotta take a deep breath and snap the thing. So, what was his deal? Was he like found late on the list? I know they get into him eventually, but right now I'm reading about Magnus. So I got a ways to go. It is pretty amazing how like routine. It's like if your situation with your dad's okay, you might turn out all right. If it's not, you might not. All right, that fits on there pretty solid, and that is definitely like the Death Guardy axe. I'm gonna call that a win right there. This will have to rest because this is a very but I could do it. Could do it like this. Yeah, I am gonna do it like that. I'm not gonna have it cross in front of them. This will be holding this for 45 minutes, but this will be cool this way. All right, you starting to get sticky? You starting to get tacky? There we go. I mean, honestly, I blame the Primarchs so little for their each of their situations. Blame the Emperor heavily. Nope, didn't hold you long enough. Crusted weapon. I mean, that's a pretty solid looking attachment if it sticks. That looks right. Obviously, this isn't really. I mean, it's technically kit bashing, but all I did was clip off some guy's arm. Not crazy work. I'm gonna let him sit gently. I may see if I can find something different for his backside that makes him look splendiferous. We shall see. We shall see. I gotta start breaking out that green stuff. I said I was gonna do it, and I still haven't touched it. hmm. So many parts to choose from. Yeah, the back piece he comes with just doesn't look that cool. It's not enough sensors on it, not enough bits on it. This one's an old classic though. I like this one. It'll look good with that one. Or this one. Is this one in parts? Could give him a tank back. I gotta make sure that thing will actually fit on there though. It'll rest on his shoulders. I do worry about his face a little bit. His face isn't very Death Guardy, but I think what I'll hit him with is like this guy's kind of just a mess. And you kind of give him a like pallid looking, not pallid looking, but kind of screwed up flesh, and he'll be fine. He'll hold it together. All right, so backpack, 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 backpack. Let's make you Death Guardy, buddy. Once we get that backpack on there, we start thinking about tentacular business. So first guy was the spear. The second one has got that grimy looking axe. He's also got a plasma pistol that apparently I did not clean up at all. I missnipped it. It's all right. I'll clean you up right now. So they're both encrusted weapon. Oh yeah, that's on there good. And plasma pistolo. And they will be able to provide a little bit of extra close quarters. Make sure about that. Interesting. I think I'm wrong. Oh, that's in Terminator armor. Whoop. Yeah, okay, I was right. I was looking at the Terminator armor one. I was like, oh, he doesn't have a plasma pistol, but this guy does. Outside the armor does. So pistol's kind of nice because you can still fire it in your shooting phase in melee if I remember my rules correct. So he'll be able to provide a little bit of extra fire support, a little extra shooty. Whatever the other leader is in the same squad will probably have a plasma pistol or injector pistol or something like that. Everybody gets to pitch in, but a couple plasma shots when you're already close to melee doesn't hurt. But wow, that isn't straight at all. It's a good thing I looked at that. Good lord. What a mess. Always check your math. So the point is hopefully to cause enough distraction where these guys can make it somewhere midfield. And they're small squads, so they're somewhat expendable, but they can take some spots, do some objective control. And if folks do get next to them, like Desiccation Conduit, while an enemy is within contagion range of this model at the end of the turn, which means all the turns, roll a d6 on a 4-up. Enemy suffers a d3 mortal. So as long as I can keep these guys alive somewhat, anyone around them is going to take some attrition. And in theory, in some cases, I could take all 3 squads that have this Chaos Lord in it and mob someone. That would be interesting. And that's every turn. End of every turn. Meanwhile, people will be getting shot at by my Night Tyrant. This backpack does not want to stick on here. I'm going to be holding this for a bit. I'll have 2 maybe Plague Burst Crawlers shelling people. There'll be some crazy miasmic plague factory infiltrating. It'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun. All right. Yeah, it's the guy does look good. The cape is very fitting. It looks very regal. You know, I am almost tempted to get a third one of these as a base. I would rip that guy's head off too, but I'm not gonna. I've done enough desecrating this pretty decent model. It's not a bad model. I don't love it, but it's got me where I needed to get to. Put you on a clip, let you just float out there and check how this guy is settling in. His arm is tight enough. His head still got some curing to do, but everything looks on here like okay, he's together at least. So with no further ado, let's break out the green stuff. Now, I'm going to presume this doesn't really have instructions. I'm going to presume the main thing is you just want an equal amount of blue and green to mix together, which I think I got wrong the first time I did it. That dude right there, look at that guy. That guy's hypes. It's gonna be fun. The other one's cool too. I'm psyched. I'm gonna just snick to that like that. And call that an equal amount of each. Both of these guys, not too shabby. I'm gonna be psyched to put them on a table. And really, they make their squads quite a pest. Like, you want to go in there and just chop them up because they're just Plague Marines and they're not Terminators. But if you don't finish the job, like turn over turn, you're just getting mortals and mortals and mortals and mortals in. Yeah, some other thing he does. Oh yeah, everyone in the unit can reroll a hit. Like, that's not bad. This plastic stuff doesn't want to get off the back of this thing. So this is obviously like a heaping pile of green stuff, but it's the end of the strip that I already screwed up, so I'm not too worried about that. I'm going to try to make a bunch of tiny little tentacly things and maybe a few little spikes. And if I need to, I've got my weapons of choice. I'm going to drop this hammer in my spare stuff thing. I've only ever used this stuff to fill in for magnets on my Tyrant. I've never actually used it to like make stuff to stick on to someone else. First time for everything. But tentacles are neat because they're like little kid Play-Doh snakes. I think the one thing I'm thinking about is how small I need to make them. Super tiny, like this is like probably 10 times as much green stuff as I need. But that's okay. I'll just keep doing and doing. It is interesting on this other guy, Numero Dos. He still has that skull up there, which is not a bad thing. But I noticed on one of these sprues, I might actually replace it with that little Nurgle symbol, but I'm not going to do that tonight. I'm going to let this guy chill out. I'll do my green stuff thing. If I do want to Nurgle him up further and put that absolutely precarious piece on him, I don't know if I've got it on one of my other models. If I do, it probably already broke off. No, I do have it. It's still on there. Yeah, one of those things on the back of here, like, man, it is not straight. It is not easy to glue on. There is no catch to it. It literally just is what it is. It's a super tiny piece. All right, so this seems green enough. Definitely seems green enough. Huge bits. Huge pieces. All right, so this, get myself back on camera here, pull myself together. This is almost nothing. But relative to the size of this guy, like, if this is going to be a tentacle, it's got to be tiny. How do people do this? It's so sticky. I don't know how I'm going to do it. You know what? I'm going to drop it on this board. Oh my god, it's already coiled up and weird. You know when you're done. Weird. Weird, weird, weird. All right, so here's a question. Do I make some tentacles and set them aside and then glue them on later? Or am I always just attaching stuff? Yeah, maggots. How do they work? Do I do this stuff separately and then stick it on? Or do I always just stick it on first and then nudge it around in weird ways? Don't know. Don't know. And it's all stuck to my hands. How do you get it not stuck to your hands? Weird. All right, well, get in there with some tools. If I can get this off of my thumb. Should I be wearing like latex gloves when I do this? Will that make it less sticky? Stick it on first. All right. I don't know how anyone does this. Get that. Oh, it's like sticking out from under his chin. That looks weird. That looks terrible. Looks like it is a necktie. Get that out of there. Get out of there, buddy. It's all going to be Play-Doh snakes. All Play-Doh snakes. All right. It keeps sticking to my hands. I mean, he already is kind of tentacly, but I gotta find a way to, like, having one wrap over this gun would be pretty neat. I think. I don't think that stuff's gonna stick. Maybe it will. Well, okay, that's. There's no real place that it comes from. I'm not really establishing that, but that's not like. There's a lot of effort for one tiny little tentacle, but that's not bad. 68 tentacles later. Do a bigger one this time. Let me use this whole blop. All right. Play-Doh snakes. You want to wet your fingers. You know what? Thanks, buddy. Paint water, but that makes a lot of sense too. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Thank you very much for hanging. I'm going to try to get a tentacle to... I'm not going to put one there. I'll put one somewhere else. Okay, this is starting to make a little more sense with my hands being wet. Thanks for hanging out. We'll definitely show the finished product at some point. Yeah, maybe I'll have one stick out of the back of his neck. Yeah, and he can cross over that eye. That's not bad. A little weird. Oh, tweezer time. Strangely enough, I didn't need all that much green stuff. A lot of what I'm doing with this is just actually kind of Also just securing some loosey-goosey parts or filling in spots where um, take it easy. Yeah, things are a little loose, but I mean, honestly, I'm not sure. I think the third guy, and I'm not doing a third guy tonight, that I just straight up 100% kit bash. That guy's going to need more green stuff. But for now, what I got, two guys that look pretty gnarly. Both got their capes. They'll be fun to paint. I don't know when I'll get to paint them, but I think I'm going to hold off on the third guy for now. Get these two done. But these guys, like, if I'm going to be very gentle, like, even if I just wiggle this, like, that guy's axe hand is still pretty loose. This guy's shoulder, it needs to cure overnight. So I'm going to stop messing around with these guys. I think I'm good. I think I'm good as a start. I think tomorrow night, yeah, the bottom of that spear is going to go. And it'll be set into the basing material while he's walking, so it'll be looking like he's putting it down. But yeah, the bottom of that thing's got to go. But I'm gonna wait till I actually, I'm gonna wait for that to cure overnight before I mess with it anymore. Because every time I touch it, it's not precarious, but it's still a little soft. And then tomorrow we'll cook one up from scratch, and I might just leave whole chunks off the thing and just fill it out with tentacles and gore. So anyway, I think I am gonna bounce. But we got two done. It was fun running the decapitation station, putting a new head in there. This guy's got that cool spear. This guy's got a cool axe. And guy number 3 will be made out of gosh knows whatever. I'm also going to try some interesting stuff with basing these guys when I get to it, because I want them to stand out. I want to make sure I don't accidentally yoink one of them instead of a Plague Marine. Not that I'm all that worried about it, but I want them to stick out a little bit. So anyway, I'm a bounce. It was a pleasure. It was my first try at kit bashing. When I make the third guy next time around, we'll just go straight from scratch parts. We'll just start clipping stuff up. I'm gonna hit the road. Have a good night. Thanks a bunch. Bye-bye.